Claressa Shields' name is mentioned, face-off as well.
Just back and forth around the two-fight thing. You know, that everything is agreed around the first fight. We won the second fight in Cardiff.
Okay.
That's what was said in the UK. We talked about one fight in the US, one fight in the UK.
Yeah.
So that's what we're focused on now.
It's the latest from Ben Shalom himself on the negotiations for the proposed Claressa Shields versus Lauren Price fight that even now I don't think makes a lot of sense. At what weight are they supposed to be fighting and for what belt? Because to my knowledge, Claressa doesn't currently hold any titles at middleweight or super middleweight. Is she going to pick some up in between now and the time that she fights Lauren? Even if she can, the fight doesn't make sense at this point in Lauren Price's young boxing career when she just had to go to hell and back to defend her titles against the Puerto Rican prospect Stephanie Pinedo, who had been largely untested before going into that fight, but she gave Lauren Price all she could handle and badly bloodied her. Though Lauren was able to successfully defend her titles and win a decision, given how much she had to labor for that victory, what is she going to have to go through with Claressa? Defeat seems almost certain, to where you wonder, why is Lauren doing this? It almost feels like she's cashing out, like in spite of her decorated amateur career as a professional, she's not long for the sport of boxing, rushing herself, or being allowed to be rushed into a fight like this. Wouldn't be the first time that a British standout amateur decided to call it a career early. I remember when double gold medalist Nicola Adams decided to retire after just 5 fights. Just about 5? Though when Nicola did it, it was as a result of an eye injury, whereas Lauren, the way she's rushing herself into a fight that she is so clearly not ready for, it just gives off the impression that she's here for a good time, but not a long one. Claressa wins. It's irrespective of bios and personality profiles. That's irrespective of whether you like Claressa Shields or not. Objectively, this is a fight that Claressa wins. I don't see it any other way. Lauren is plenty fast and plenty athletic, but so is Claressa Shields, with the difference being Claressa has a lot more experience across more weight classes than Lauren Price by a lot. She's got a lot more ring coverage because she's the taller, longer fighter. She can cover more ground, operate in a wider area because she's a bigger woman. For Lauren to stand any chance of winning, she would have to mitigate the exchanges, get on her toes, step in and out of striking distance, throwing punches while she does it, and avoiding Claressa's. Changing levels, catching and countering, bobbing and weaving, the works. Rolling and countering, slipping and countering, and I simply don't trust Lauren Price to execute that kind of a flawless strategy, that kind of a game plan. She would have to fight the perfect fight. She's not going to. She couldn't do that with Stephanie Pinedo, so she's going to do that with Claressa Shields? I doubt it. I think she's going to get stopped. I think she's going to get knocked out. The only hope is that they're paying her well enough to take on this fight, as she is facing certain defeat. It's said to be a 2-fight deal. They've ironed out the terms for the first fight, but they seem to be stuck at a stalemate over the second, likely the money and where the second fight takes place, depending on who wins. Claressa's gonna win. I didn't think this fight was going to happen, not initially, because when it first became a talking point, BOXXER had just lost the Sky Sports deal and had migrated over to BBC, which we all know was not giving them the same budget they were getting on BOXXER. But now that they're on DAZN, are they not with BBC anymore? The fight is definitely more viable than it was, since Dimitri Salita, who's Claressa's career-long promoter, he's got a DAZN deal, and now, so does BOXXER. They're on the same platform. So now it can happen. Where initially I was skeptical, it's a distinct possibility now, more so than before. The Mayer fight... That's not as possible now. That's not as likely, because Michaela's with MVP, who we all know Claressa don't want nothing to do with, and they don't want nothing to do with her. Lauren is a bonehead. She could have had the fight with Michaela Mayer for undisputed right there at welterweight where she already fights. She is instead choosing to fight Claressa instead and at a higher weight. Dummy. In truth, I never thought the Mayer versus Shields fight would see the light of day, mostly because I think it would take a lot of money to get Michaela Mayer to concede that much weight to Claressa and to fight for what belts? I think it would take more money than Claressa Shields and Dimitri Salita actually have at their disposal. When have you ever heard of somebody making life-altering money to fight Claressa Shields? Well, then why is Ben Shalom allowing his Olympic gold medalist and unified welterweight champion to be sacrificed sacrificed at the altar of Clarissa Shields' massive ego. Because he doesn't know what he's doing? Because he's mishandling her career? I've long maintained that Lauren Price would have been better off debuting as a professional under Matchroom than BOXXER. Matchroom have already shown the ability to take an amateur standout and Olympic gold medalist to the next level with Anthony Joshua, with Katie Taylor, and other fighters, to where Lauren going to BOXXER is the main reason she's not more mainstream, even though she could be. She's got 3 alphabet titles in the welterweight division that I now don't expect her to hang on to for much longer if she's going to be moving up to lose to Clarissa. Freeing up those titles for a former champion in Chantel Kamran or Christina Lenardatu to maybe move up to welter and pick them up, maybe fight Michaela. Fighting Michaela now becomes the biggest fight. She has the biggest name in the welterweight division. So it breaks down if things really are progressing between Lauren and Clarissa for a fight. Lauren's gonna lose. She's gonna end up dropping the welterweight titles that she holds, and that'll be the story. As it pertains to BOXXER fighters and BOXXER as a promotion, BOXXER announced DAZN as broadcast partner for Troy Williamson versus Callum Simpson rematch. And what is this strategic partnership? The Troy Williamson versus Callum Smith rematch, set for the First Direct Bank Arena in Leeds, England on August 8th, will be shown live and exclusively on DAZN after promoters BOXXER announced a deal with the streaming network. BOXXER, headed by Ben Shalom, have worked with the BBC since their contract with Sky expired 12 months ago. Boxing Scene understands that BOXXER will continue to work with the BBC, but the finer details of their coverage after announcing on social media a new multi-fight partnership with DAZN will be revealed at a press conference on Wednesday. DAZN confirmed that the deal, DAZN, will see the promoter deliver major fight nights on the platform in the coming months, including a premium pay-per-view event scheduled for later this year. DAZN's continued effort to spruce up what is supposed to be their ultimate tier by adding as many pay-per-views to the calendar as possible in the hopes that they can create the illusion of value for money. That if you subscribe to the ultimate tier, which is in the neighborhood of over $400 to the Americans, look at all the pay-per-views we're gonna give you, as a means to justify the inflated price point, when in reality, you're just doing more pay-per-views. It's not actually value for money so much as the illusion of value for money, because some of these fights you're doing, they shouldn't even be behind a paywall. Paywall's only there because you put it there. Same people that put up the paywall are the same people that are telling you they're trying to save you money by charging you money. 2 times what your run-of-the-mill annual subscription costs. An annual subscription's about, what, $225? The ultimate tier is in the neighborhood of $400. The newly inked DAZN deal seems to be running parallel to the already existing BBC deal, so you have to imagine that the smaller fights that BOXXER wants to do, they're going to end up on BBC, which is tantamount to a terrestrial network. With the added resources of DAZN, they bring to the table pay-per-view functionality for what will be BOXXER's bigger fights, though I don't see who in the stable they have right now that should be boxing on pay-per-view. Maybe Shields versus Price later on in the year, and maybe, just maybe, Adam Azim versus Dalton Smith down the line. Maybe. So this gives DAZN all the major promotional outfits in the United Kingdom, and most of the major promotional outfits in the United States, save the PBC, that are still over there on Amazon Prime, though from the looks of it, it looks like it's only a matter of time before they end up migrating to DAZN also, since they don't have the bodies or the resources or the budget to stand alone just doing pay-per-views. Queensberry and Top Rank have jointly had to eat their fair share of crow, since when DAZN debuted in both the United States and the United Kingdom, they were among its biggest detractors, arguing that it's only an app. Who's gonna get noticed? Who's gonna get watched on an app? A sign that both Frank and Bob were showing their age, not realizing that apps are all the rage. Streaming platforms are the wave of the future. The PBC among them referring to DAZN as Dead Zone. They look dead in the water now that they've lost Fox, they've lost Showtime, and they've been limited to doing pay-per-views on Amazon Prime. If they want to survive, they better get while the getting is good, because things are already getting pretty crowded over there at DAZN, given the number of major promotional outfits they now seek to accommodate. On the face of it, it's seemingly value for money to the consumer, to the existing subscriber, that you're getting this many shows from this many promotional outfits, all from one platform. But there's a flip side to that. Tell me that this doesn't read as a response to Zuffa's emergence within the boxing space and all the money that they have behind them. It sort of looks like that ending scene in Avengers Endgame when everybody's got to get together to go fight Thanos. That would make Dana White the Thanos of the story and Turki El Sheikh and his budget the Infinity Stones. This guy seemingly got infinite money. The twist is, it's not like he stopped working with Matchroom. It's not like he's not going to keep using their fighters, because he very much is, and for the money that he offers, it's not like they're going to say no. These promotional outfits for many years were happy to stand apart, feuding with each other behind their respective political boundary lines, working against each other. They now share a common enemy. And so now, they share the same platform. What were their competing interests now take a back seat in the best interests of survival, because Zuffa is very much interested in stepping on as many toes in as many markets as possible. They've already done a string of shows in the United States, and they just debuted in the United Kingdom. They're set to debut in Ireland, where everybody was laughing at these guys for doing their first couple of shows at the Apex. They've already started branching out just 6 months from their launch. Now, I don't buy into all the doomsday scenarios about Zuffa monopolizing the sport, taking it over and running everybody else out of business. Even with all their resources, I don't think they can do that. But what they can do is make everybody's job harder. Unless everybody can come together and push back, because they kinda have to. Still, Zuffa might have a leg up on the competition because they're not doing a string of pay-per-views. They're not doing box office fight after box office fight, asking the consumer to constantly go into their wallet month after month. They're providing you with boxing on a budget, where DAZN is sometimes asking you to pay for 2 pay-per-views in a single month. It's a lot. Boxing is the common man's sport. These are blue-collar workers that are taking in this stuff. Your average boxing fan is not a Wall Street guy. There's only so many times a month and so many times in a single calendar year you can ask these consumers to pay per view. And that's what might allow Zuffa to gain some inroads into the boxing space. If nothing else, it's that DAZN is a lot more expensive than watching boxing on Paramount or watching it on Sky in the UK. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, the ongoing back and forth between Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. Devin, who says, me versus Shakur is the biggest fight. Our fight would be big, though. He said this to Keyshawn Davis, to which Shakur responded, and let me guess, I've got to come to your weight class to make the fight happen just because you say so? To which Devin responded, whenever you decide to come to my weight class, let's do it. I'll fight your brother Keyshawn for now. That's what he said yesterday. Bill Haney said, first it was the money, now it's the weight. You can't make this shit up, to which Shakur responded, Bill, you could trick the idiots on here, but you ain't tricking me. You must need me right now. And I actually think they do. I actually believe that they need Shakur Stevenson for a big fight because Ryan Garcia is otherwise preoccupied. Things didn't work out with Rolly Romero, so their best bet to get at another big Saudi-sized bag is to fight Shakur. Alright, but what about his mandatory? Isn't Devin Haney currently under orders to satisfy his mandatory challenger, Keyshawn Davis? Bill Haney, responding to Shakur, said, nah, champ, you tried to trick everybody into believing the Haney versus Stevenson fight wasn't on the table for you. But here's the thing about Haney versus Stevenson. Maybe it's a big fight, relatively speaking, in the United States with 2 of the bigger names, but what it's not is a unification match. Shakur doesn't hold any titles in the welterweight division, so if you elect to fight him instead of your mandatory, isn't the title forfeit?
What the hell is you so scared of? I got 15 fights. Like, let's talk about these, talking real shit. I got 15 fights, you got 30. I'm a young cat, right? Well, come school this young cat. Come school me. The fuck? They just keep saying irrelevant shit. Oh, me and Shakur the bigger fight. Him and Shakur the bigger fight. He's not at your weight class. That doesn't matter. You got a mandatory right here, and you talk about a nigga that's not even at your weight class. And y'all keep talking about this is not scary. Like how? Y'all think this is crazy. Y'all. Let me calm back down. Come on, bro. Y'all gotta, bro. I am only 15 years old. It's not that much damage I can do to you, bro. I'm only 15-0, bro. It is not that much damage I can do to you.
So Keyshawn's interpretation of Devin's preference to face Shakur instead of him is that Devin is afraid. But what would Devin Haney have to be afraid of?
If he is afraid.
One thing you want to consider is that Keyshawn Davis is physically bigger than Shakur Stevenson. He's actually adequately more suited to campaign as a welterweight than Shakur Stevenson because he's a bigger guy, he carries a bigger punch, where Shakur might win a points decision. Keyshawn is going to knock you out, or try to, so that's one thing you want to factor in.
The other thing is money. You don't get for fighting Keyshawn Davis what you could get for fighting Shakur. I don't know that Turkey has any interest in paying for a Haney versus Davis fight.
And because Devin Haney is a network and promotional free agent with no financier, it would be up to Top Rank to put that fight together between him and Keyshawn. A Top Rank bag ain't nowhere near the same size as a Saudi bag.
Money is a factor.
Weight is a factor. It seems like Devin Haney is more willing to concede to 144-pound catch weight for Shakur than to fight Keyshawn Davis at a full 147. And I said it just the other day that when you talk about American boxing, among Americans, you hear more about weight, catch weights, rehydration clauses.
You surmise American boxing, it just seems like a lot of these young guys are using weight stipulations to handicap each other.
Though Devin can't be too critical of Shakur Stevenson asking for a catch weight for a fight between them when he just fought Jose Ramirez at a catch weight.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Watching them go back and forth with each other like this over social media seems to be providing more action than a fight would, because when you talk about the styles of the fighters, Devin and Shakur, neither one of them is an action guy. Neither one of them is all that keen on getting out there, getting at it, and taking a risk. I don't actually want to see them fight.
I happen to think the fight itself is more trouble than it's worth.
What are you going to have to pay Devin to fight Shakur? What are you going to have to pay Shakur to fight Devin? And what is that fight actually going to do at the box office commercially? What is it going to generate? What is it going to bring in?
I think it's more trouble than it's worth.
I think if they actually get it over the line and they do it, this is going to be a overly priced chess match that doesn't provide very many dramatic moments.
Like most Devin Haney fights.
And some Shakur Stevenson fights. And if he does elect to fight Shakur Stevenson instead of his mandatory challenger that he's under orders to fight, doesn't that then mean he's got to drop the brown belt?
It might.